Ew. Oh!
Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Katie, and this is The Housewife Did It.
Halloween edition!
Woo!
We're back, bitches. It's our time of the year. We did discuss, we have an upcoming trip to Salem, and we were like, oh my gosh, we did witches last year. So, this year, we got something new for you. We're going to be discussing, throughout the month of October, cases of real-life vampires.
Heck yeah.
And I've already decided that next year we're doing killer clowns, so hold me to that. I beg. We can do John Wayne Gacy. We could do 2016 clown epidemic. I would love to give you some real-time true crime, but I was honestly just too stressed getting this script done, so I don't have anything for you. Read the news, though. Katie, do you want to do any real-time true crime?
Nope, there's crimes happening every day at the highest level there possibly could be, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like I don't need to inform you of the crimes.
Scroll on Instagram, check the news wherever you find your news. And I guarantee you'll find a crime. Unless it's your opinion that it's not a crime, but you know.
Right.
But also you can still now until Halloween use the code CRIME15 for 15% off on select merch items. So that's fun.
Oh, not including, but we will be adding some new Halloween items. And you can still use the code Mary788 at Every Jewels for money off of your jewelry order. That's Every Jewels, spelled EVRY Jewels. And the code is Mary, MARY, 788.
Queen.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
I am not, but here we go. Bear with me today, because this one's all over the place in many ways.
Yeah, I mean,
bear with me. So Roderick Justin Ferrell was born on March 28th, 1980 in Murray, Kentucky. At least that's what his birth certificate would tell you.
Oh.
But Rod would like you to believe that he was born in 1498 as a vampire named Vesago.
Yeah, I guess that would be kind of important.
He's 500 years old, he says. Okay. Yeah. Rod's parents were just teenagers when he was born, and his father quickly left to join the military. I think they were divorced within a year. Rod's mother, Sandra Gibson, raised him alone. They moved back and forth between Florida, where Sandra's parents lived, and Murray, where they lived in public housing units. Sandra worked as an exotic dancer and occasionally engaged in sex work to support her family. And eventually they moved back to Kentucky and stayed in Kentucky. And Rod later claimed that when they lived in Florida, when he was 5, that he had been raped by his grandfather.
Okay.
So that's his backstory. Okay. Now, that's all I got for that. Now
he's an adult.
No. Now jumping forward, in 1996, Rod was 17 years old. He had been raised an only child, and he had recently grown out of his dorky kid phase. So now, Rod was looking
he would do that after he's like 400.
I know. Weird. You think you would have found yourself by now.
Yeah.
He was looking for a new identity, though. So he began to get into goth clothing. He wore dark makeup, large combat boots, and a trench coat. He had long black hair that was shaved on one side. He listened to alternative music. He often talked about violence and carried a knife with him everywhere he went. He experimented with LSD and other hallucinogens. He, for fun, read the Book of Satanism and the Necronomicon.
Mm-hmm.
And he admitted, like, by his own admission, was very into the occult. Like, that's not me saying, that's not me saying, oh, well, satanic panic. He's like, I loved the occult.
Yeah.
And
get your bag,
buddy. Right. In a town like Murray, that was certainly going to get him noticed for all the wrong reasons. So Murray, Kentucky was a conservative, Republican, dry town. They don't even drink there.
Mm-hmm.
It is referred to as the Buckle of the Bible Belt.
Oh, okay, cool.
With one church to every 180 people. So they have currently 99 churches in this town.
Okay.
This is where he was raised.
Yeah, so, I imagine Murray, Kentucky, not that different than West Memphis, Arkansas in the 90s.
Literally, the whole time I'm like, it's Damien Eccles, except guilty.
Nice.
It's Damien Eccles, except we can hate him.
Guilty. Count one. Guilty.
So, yeah. Sorry to give away the bag. Now, Sandra Gibson was not always the best mother. But one thing she did share with her son was a role-playing game called Vampire the Masquerade.
Okay.
In this game, players sit around a table and listen as the storyteller sets the scene in the world of darkness, a fictionalized gothic punk version of the modern world.
Okay.
The players assume the role of different categories of vampires called kindreds or canites, and they are tasked with trials of controlling their vampire nature or escaping vampire hunters, that kind of thing.
Did they make this up?
No, it's a real game.
It's like Dungeons and Dragons with vampires and vampires.
It is. And there's like different like versions of it. Like there's like, I think there's a video game version. There's this like live action role play version. There's like different things to go with it. But yes, it's like Dungeons and Dragons. It has like the dice and everything.
Okay.
This game is where Rod took on the role of Vesago and where he began his real life identification as a vampire. According to Rod, Sandra was supportive of all of his endeavors and all versions of free thinking. In fact, at one point, their neighbors thought the two of them were dating because they were always seen in matching black clothing holding hands. But like, she just loved her son. She helped Rod paint a pentagram on their living room floor, and they created an altar out of spell books together. And Rod like felt very lucky to have a mother that not only accepted him for who he was, but like wanted to be a part of the same world as him. And now, here, let me get on my soapbox. In the Morbid episode about the Kentucky Teen Vampire Clan, they talked about how hard it is to come out and say who you are when you're different, and how we shouldn't judge people who identify as vampires, and that Rod gives real life vampires a bad name. I, on the other hand, say that if you identify as a vampire, you're weird.
Wrong, at the very least.
And I am not usually someone to yuck someone's... I don't usually yuck someone else's yum, you know? But I fear that when we start letting people identify as anything, including fictional creatures, it takes away from people who have legitimate gender identities outside of their gender assigned at birth. And that is how we get rumors like they're putting litter boxes in the schools.
Right.
So, like, you want to drink your partner's blood as consenting adults, you know, like, it doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
But saying that it takes courage to come out as a vampire is insane.
Yeah, and I think, like, there are parts of it that maybe people struggle with. Like, there are people that genuinely not just, like, believe that, like,
Mm-hmm.
they lived a life before this one, but can, like,
Right.
feel connected to
Yes.
their past lives. And there are people who can identify differently than
Mm-hmm.
their assigned gender. And so I think, like, combining those ideas, you might be like, well, who am I to say this person didn't have a past life as a vampire? Like, but, like,
But
yeah, I
vampires aren't
mean,
real.
yeah, it makes, like, a farce of, like, real identity struggles that people
Yes.
have. Um, and
But, like, it makes people think that, like, all of the things that you could identify as are choices and are
right,
made up.
right. That, like, I can, and this is the argument that people who hate trans people make, is that, like, oh, what,
Yeah.
can I just be a dog now? And it's
Right.
like, no, you can't be a dog
Right.
because you're not a dog.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, the other thing is, like, where we will never yuck yums is, like, vampires can be your special interest. It
Yeah.
can be all you care about. It can be all you talk about. You can cosplay as a vampire. You can do all the vampire-y shit all of your life. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean you've lived for 500 years.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that you will die if garlic touches you. And
Right.
it doesn't mean that the only way to kill you is a stake through the heart.
Right.
Like, there are actual, like, physiological things that are necessary
Yeah.
to be a vampire.
Right. Like, there are pictures of this kid, like, hanging upside down, like, arms crossed over his chest, like, ankles bound in chains. And I'm like, all that's doing for you is sending the blood to your head, which
You
is
know,
probably why you think you might be 500 years old.
real
Without question.
vampires can just do that. They just
Right.
turn
They
into
don't need to be
bats
chained.
and they just do it, you know?
Yeah. Well, so actually, in the many sources I found on this, vampires do not turn into bats.
Oh.
They turn into wolves. So vampires and werewolves are the same thing.
Okay. In
Fun fact for you.
Bram Stoker's Dracula, that's true.
Yes,
There's
that's what
no
they were talking
bats.
about.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, back to Rod's vampire adventures.
Okay. I'm ready.
Rod was originally invited to be a member of a vampire clan by his friend named Jaden. So Rod and Jaden had met in school and shared an interest in what they referred to as a freak lifestyle.
Also fine.
Right.
Be a
Freaky
freak.
sure.
Yeah.
Like,
let your freak flag fly.
We love Damien Eccles here.
Of course.
Like, the things he posts on his Instagram stories, I'm all up in there. I have no fucking idea what he's talking about. But
never.
I'm like, good for you. Like,
Love.
you are happy. You are at peace. You are yourself. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
He also does not think he's 500 years old.
Yeah, and I think, like, also our ability to, like, okay, I don't even know. You and Billy can tell me if we have to cut this. Your ability, like if the thing that you believe that you are is literally causing you to, I assume, because we're doing this case here, harm people, murder people,
Mm-hmm.
then, like, we're just not really behind it, you know?
Yeah.
That's not to say that people with, I don't know how to.
No. I think, yes. I think also, though, that, like, I've been saying this a lot lately. I cannot wrap my brain around stupid people in, like, how do you possibly actually believe you're 500 years old? Like, I just actually, like, think you're lying.
Mm-hmm.
I think is my thing. Like, and that's what I think is annoying.
Like, you are ill.
Right. According to Rod, and these are his actual words, this is so silly. He had fallen in love with an out-of-control fantasy world, and it felt like a fairy tale, finally belonging somewhere.
Okay.
Jaden, so he's gonna join the clan now.
Okay.
Jaden,
there's how many of them?
Blood. There's
Because
like
I
six.
thought you only named like 2 people.
Well, right now we're just talking about Jaden and Rod. But Jaden is the leader of a vampire clan, and it's like his brother, and there's a girl, and then there's like 2 other guys, and now they're adding Rod.
Okay.
Okay. So, Jaden drank Rod's blood, and then allowed Rod to drink his blood.
Jaden's.
Yes. Effectively making Rod a vampire. And making Jaden his sire. I thought you were already a vampire.
Effectively giving him whatever blood-borne pathogens you have.
I thought you had been a vampire for 500 years.
Yeah, what? Do you have to, like, be re-vampired in... Wait, but they're not, like, literally separate lives. Never mind. Ignore my question.
No, this is his one life.
It's one life. It's Edward Cullen.
Right. Okay. And if anything could prove that this is not a 500-year-old vampire, it's the fact that he is now very wrinkly and lost all his hair. So, he aging.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Cullens. See, you didn't have the Cullen blueprint back in 1996.
Right.
To tell you shouldn't age.
Of course. So now Rod is a vampire and Jaden is his sire.
What does this mean?
So this is like terminology. He is. So a sire, I know it sounds backwards, doesn't it?
A sire sounds like your bitch.
No, it's not, apparently. So
okay.
And this is like terminology from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which love. But like a sire, the sire is the person who made you a vampire.
Oh, okay.
And this
they're your mommy.
Yeah. So Rod was so pleased to be part of a vampire clan. He felt like he had finally found a place where he would fit in. But then vampirism wasn't exactly what Rod thought it would be.
Oh no.
Yeah. According to the rules of vampirism and the rules of the clan he had just joined, vampires are like all about peace and nonviolence.
Fuck.
Food sources always have to be consenting. Cult members must respect the lives of animals. They can't turn against one another. They like believe in the sanctity of human life.
And animal life? Like they don't eat animals either?
No.
Because the animals can't consent.
Right.
Okay. So this is all like, hey, can I drink your blood?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, like, again, I'm not yucking that yum.
We love consent.
Whatever. Rod doesn't care about none of that. Which I guess is, like, the Morbid girl's point is, like, they're just vibing. They're doing, like, they're consenting, whatever.
Sure.
I think that my issue is with, like, the word identify.
Sure.
I don't like that.
A little co-opted.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so it's like, yeah, people do blood play.
Yeah.
And like that's allowed to be like an important thing to them. Or like non-sexual, I guess.
Yeah. Oh no, it's sexual here.
Sure. It typically
they're 17. Come on.
They're horny.
They are. Anyway. So Rod learns that vampires don't like take advantage of their thirst for blood as a means to murder, but as a way to connect with others and keep themselves healthy. Like they're like, we drink blood because we need it. We have to have it to survive.
How often do they need it?
Because we're vampires.
And if they can't get it, do they just have to keep drinking each other's?
I think they drink each other's anyway.
Sure.
We will get to a real life vampire opinion later, but he said that it like he has his donors come like 2 to 3 times a week, and he has 4 that he alternates between, so that he doesn't take too much from anyone.
Okay.
He's like going through all this. Also, like I will get to him, but this guy, he's like going through all this about like how it's so good for his health, and he's got this fucking massive like lump coming out of the side of his neck, and I'm like, how did that get there? What is that? how healthy are you?
Could be any bloodborne pathogen.
Right. I don't know. Anyway, I don't feel bad about bullying people who think they're vampires. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So in Jaden's clan, like, they follow these rules. They're silly, to be quite honest. They traded their given names for vampiric names. They speak in fake Romanian accents.
Cute.
They consider themselves to be a different breed and race from the humans around them.
Okay.
They also admit that their interest in vampirism is kind of centered around sexual rituals. And they say that drinking blood is orgasmic.
Just wonder if it's the same to drink other vampires' blood as it is to drink human blood.
Right.
But, you know,
I don't know.
If you're a whole different breed and being, like, I just...
Yeah, and I think that, like, when they drink each other's blood is, like, considered, like, a ritual is the way it sounded, but I don't know. So Rod, like, at this point considered Jaden to be a father figure, but also Rod had a bad temper and, like, a violent streak, and he did not make any attempt to suppress that. He, like, fully leaned into it. And so the other members of the clan started to distance themselves from Rod as they saw these tendencies kind of come to light. So one incident that concerned them was that there was one day that everyone was going on a walk. They go on a lot of walks and talking up to each other about their feelings. So they're going on a group walk, and they come upon a kitten. And Rod picks up the kitten.
No,
and
put it down.
Him and Jaden are kind of, like, playing with it at first. And then Jaden says that Rod turned to him and said, "See that tree?" And he grabbed the cat by the neck and threw it against the tree and broke its spinal column and killed it. And everyone was like,
I don't like that. We love to respect animals.
And then the final straw was an incident in which Rod tried to initiate a physical fight with Jaden, and Jaden, like, said he grabbed him by the neck and threw him up against the wall, and that kind of ended it. But from then on, Rod was banned from the clan for inciting violence against another member.
I mean, fair.
But Rod is a vampire, and therefore
Can't
he
take it back.
needs to be in a cult. Like, he needs a group. And
I didn't realize that vampires were group creatures.
I don't know that it is, but for Rod it is.
Okay. Cool.
Now, lucky for Rod, at the time there were several vampire cults in Murray, Kentucky.
So confused.
I know.
Wait, were they right to Satanic Panic?
I know.
Hold on a second.
The vampire groups could be seen walking around the streets at night. The police were like, they never drove. That was weird. They never used cars.
They fly.
Right. They hung out in packs on the street corners. They went to local fast food restaurants together. They're everywhere. And in fact, in 1987, Murray was named the retirement capital of the nation, but now they were starting to wonder if they were the vampire capital of the nation. They were literally crawling with them.
The poor retired folks.
I know. They're like, what the fuck? Why did we come here? But Rod did not want to follow the rules of traditional vampire cults, as we've seen. He wanted to be a leader. He wanted to set his own rules.
Then you have to start a clan, Rod.
And he will.
Good.
He said he wanted to become a parent, watcher, and guide to young vampires. So he started his own group, which he simply called Vampire Clan.
Incredible.
That is their official name, is Vampire Clan.
Nice.
Rod seemed to seek out fellow teenagers who he knew needed someone. He would make them believe that they would be better by joining his clan, they would find what they were missing, and that by being different, they were rejecting society. So he recruited his girlfriend, Charity Kesey. Charity's dad hated Rod. He thought he was a bad influence. And he was really strict with Charity, so like Vampire Clan was her escape. She's like, my dad sucks. He also invited his friend Scott Anderson to join. Scott was a quiet kid. He seemed lost on his own, so he needed somewhere to fit in. 19-year-old Dana Cooper joined the clan. She had never had any real friends and never really wanted to fit in with her peers. So when she saw a group of marginalized kids, it seemed like the perfect fit. Michael Schaefer joined the clan, but pretty soon after that, his mom... Sorry, it's not funny. His mom sent him to a treatment center for kids with behavioral problems because she said she was concerned he was a runaway train. That was her exact wording. And she wanted to get him help before he got any more involved with this group.
Specifically because of them?
No, he was like having behavior issues outside of that, I guess.
Oh, okay.
At one point, Sandra also tried to join the clan.
Nuh-uh.
Yes. And
Mamacita?
She was sending letters to the 14-year-old brother of one of the members offering to be his eternal bride. I would love to have had more information on that. That is literally all they said.
Great.
Red flags, hello.
Just because it's eternal doesn't mean age doesn't matter.
But he's 500. Rod quickly began to believe that he could get away with anything. He said, to prove how powerful he was as a leader, he held a death ritual for his group. So on October 14th, 1996, or whenever this is, employees arrived to the Murray Animal Shelter to the sounds of loud yelping and barking. When they got inside, they found that 60 dogs had been brutalized, several had been killed, and some of their puppies had had their legs ripped off.
Literally, what the hell?
Yeah. Outside in the grass, there was a letter V for Vesago, spray painted in red.
Or for Vampire Clan.
Now, I know that they know it was Rod. I don't know if they knew at the time that it happened or after what's about to happen.
But they know now.
I don't know. Yeah, they know now. So I don't know, like, if he had some kind of consequence for this at the time or by the time they learned it was kind of like not as important.
And it was all of them that did this, we assume?
No, it was him.
By himself?
I don't know, like, by himself, but he said, like, he did it to prove that he was, like, powerful.
Okay.
To them. So...
To the dogs? Oh, to his clan.
No, to his clan.
Okay.
So, Vampire Clan by Rod Ferrell would hold regular meetings and rituals at an abandoned building that they called the Vampire Hotel or Hotel California in the middle of the woods in the land between the lakes. It was like an incomplete home or bomb shelter on the bluff overlooking the Kentucky Lake. And at these meetings, the teens would drink each other's blood and eventually came up with their biggest plan yet. So Rod had recently gotten back in touch with a friend of his from Eustis, Florida, named Heather Windorf. The two had met in middle school and then dated before Rod and Sandra moved back to Murray. And Heather was exactly the kind of girl Vampire Clan went for. She dyed her hair crazy colors. She wore fishnets. She hung a Barbie off of her backpack with a noose around its neck. Yeah. Heather had been telling Rod about the hell she was living in under her parents' roof, and she wanted Rod to help her escape and become a vampire. She had told him, she had said, like, it's miserable here. She had told him that her father was abusive, but reports I read about what happened kind of made it sound more like she was just not getting her way and thought her parents were mean. But
we don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So Rod told Sandra that he, Dana, Charity, Scott, and now Heather were going to move to New Orleans with basically one bag, and they were going to be artists together and live in an art collective together. So the 4 Kentucky vampires drove to Florida to pick up Heather. When they got there, they picked Heather up from school and took her across the street to a cemetery.
Okay.
There, Rod crossed her over into being a vampire. That means they drank each other's blood. Yeah.
Okay.
And then told her that
when they do this, do we know how they do it?
I don't know how they do it. The vampire that I had to watch discuss this pokes people with like an X-Acto knife over and over
then
again.
Just licks it?
And then like squeezes it out. And then licks it.
Okay.
It's crazy. So after she crossed over, Rod told her that they would need to leave for Louisiana that night. So Heather went home. She spent her last moments with her family. She went and said goodbye to her boyfriend. And then she ran away with her friends to New Orleans. However, not far into their journey, Scott's car got a flat tire. Womp womp. Heather suggested that they go back to her house and get the keys for her family's SUV. She told Rod, like, you can go. The keys are always on my parents' nightstand in their bedroom. They're probably asleep by now. Like, you could just sneak in, grab the keys, whatever. And then she said, also, though, I have a favor. She wanted a souvenir by which to remember each of her parents because she was running away. She wanted her mother's pearl necklace and her father's hunting knife. So he's like, sure, I'll do that.
Why can't she just go get the keys? Girl.
So the 3 girls stayed at the site of the broken down car while the boys went back to Heather's house. Awesome. And I'm guessing they walked because they don't have a car. When Rod and Scott arrived back at the Windorf home, he said they scanned the area and then entered through the unlocked garage door. He said all of the doors were unlocked, but they just happened to go into the garage. They only had sticks with them.
But like, what do you even need sticks for?
Right. So Rod said, well, before we could go in, he said he used a lighter to look for a better weapon and picked up a crowbar on the way into the house. Again, I say, why you need a weapon? You're just going to grab some keys. Once they got inside, they found Richard Windorf, Heather's father, asleep on the couch in the living room. And while he was still sleeping, Rod beat him multiple times with a crowbar, fracturing both his skull and his ribs. Richard would not have woken up at this time because the blows would have instantly knocked him out, and then he died quickly after the beating began. Heather's mother, Naomi Ruth Queen, I know.
Oh my god. Wow. Well,
was in the shower during the time her husband was being murdered and did not know that there were intruders in her home. She did not hear this.
okay.
So
What the hell is Scott thinking?
Scott's like, what the fuck?
Whoa! Look me
so
my
after-
stick!
Yeah. After they killed Richard, Rod and Scott attempted to flee the home, but they ran into Naomi Ruth in the kitchen. She was frightened.
Probably
She
naked.
said she was in a robe.
Okay.
She said, like, who are you and what do you want? And then she threw her cup of freshly brewed coffee onto Rod and lunged at him.
Okay, queen.
I know.
Literal.
He said that she clawed his face. She like grabbed onto his wrist and wouldn't let go. And he took the crowbar and stabbed it into the top of her head and killed her.
Oh my god.
Yes. So, what does Scott say about this, you ask? I'll tell you. Scott says that they knew all along they were going to murder Heather's parents. I'm guessing they talked about it on the way
On
there.
their walk.
On their big hike.
They love to walk and talk. They are yappers.
Mm-hmm. He said that Rod was supposed to kill Richard and Scott was going to kill Naomi Ruth, but then he got scared. After he saw Rod kill Richard,
and all he had was a stick.
He's like, wait, I don't want to do that. Rod, on the other hand, says that they never had any plan to kill either of them, really, but like definitely weren't planning on killing Naomi Ruth. Like they just were trying to leave and ran into her, and like we're like, we have to get rid of her, kind of thing. But so then they leave.
Did they get the stuff that they needed?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
So then Heather's 17-year-old sister, Jennifer, returned home from her part-time grocery job. She goes inside. She sees her dad sleeping on the couch. She walks a little further in the house, and she sees her mom dead on the floor of the kitchen. And she's like, what the fuck?
Wait, and she came back, why? What'd you say?
She had just gotten off of work.
Oh, this is
her sister.
Her sister,
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. Heather is 15. Jennifer is 17.
Okay.
So Jennifer's her sister. And so when she sees her mom is dead, she goes back into the living room and realizes her dad is also dead. He was not sleeping on the couch. So she immediately called the police. She told them that her 15-year-old sister was missing. She's like, she should be here. I don't understand. She told police that Heather had left her a note that said, love you, Jennifer. I'm not coming back. Don't follow us. And then she also told police that she had recently confided in Heather that Jennifer's boyfriend was abusive. And Heather told her that she knew a guy that could kill him if she wanted him dead.
Okay.
So she was like, I think that Heather might have something to do with this.
Or she might know a man who might have something to do with this.
And then, and so they're like, okay, good to know. They look through the scene. Something that stood out to them was that Richard had 5 burn marks on his arm. One for each member of Vampire Clan.
Oh.
And they came together in the shape of a V for Vesago.
Whoa. Or Vampire Clan.
Mm-hmm.
Is this all with the lighter?
It looks like cigarette burns, in my opinion. They're like round.
Okay.
And so they're like, okay, this sounds like Heather's friend Rod Ferrell. from Murray, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
It
sounds like the fucking Mansons.
Yeah. So they put a warrant out for Rod's arrest. In the meantime, Rod and Scott drove the SUV back to the girls and switched the tags, and they were off. They're about to cross 4 states, baby. Mm-hmm. Heather is like, something is weird. What's like, why are y'all acting weird? What's going on? And Rod says, well, Heather, there's no easy way to say this, so I'm just going to lay it out there. Your parents are dead. That's what he said to her. Right. And apparently, according to them, she started screaming. She started trying to get out of the car. And Dana had to lay on top of her in the backseat of the car to keep her restrained and to keep her from throwing herself out of the vehicle. And then they finally got her to calm down. She's like, whatever, fine, it's fine.
My parents are dead. Whatever.
Yeah. I'll go to Louisiana with you. Whatever. So
just please don't stick a crowbar through my skull.
Yeah. The group drove on. They spent 4 days driving to Louisiana. They passed through 4 states. They were actually stopped by police several times. After that warrant was put out, but they were protected by their vampire powers. So the police couldn't get them.
Which are identity changing? What happened?
They're protected. They're safe.
Okay.
They told police each time they were stopped that they were college students, sometimes from Texas, sometimes from Iowa, and they let them pass right through. They stopped in Baton Rouge for a bit, but like their end destination was New Orleans.
Why not just pick one story though?
I know. That was like the thing the Morbid
is that like the fun?
Were like, why are you switching between Texas and Iowa?
Yeah, like is that part of it? Does Mr. Vesago just think it's like fun?
I don't know.
To like pick a new line?
No. Police, I guess, investigators believed that Rod chose New Orleans based on the fact that he was very interested in a video arcade there.
Oh.
Doesn't seem. I mean, I don't put it past him, but I wonder if there are other reasons they might want to go to New Orleans,
the land of voodoo and ghosts and spooky things.
New Orleans has a pretty deep and interesting vampire lore.
I'll tell you. They can get drunk at 17. Yeah. Probably.
And there's like only walking.
They love walking.
They love to walk.
Wow.
So a long time ago. Longer now. What does it say? What do they say in the I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. There was a man in New Orleans named Jacques Saint Germain. Okay. And Jacques Saint Germain lived in the French Quarter. He was a French man.
Obviously.
Yeah, I don't know why I felt the need to point that out. And people thought he was a vampire. So one day.
So what really matters is, did he self-identify as a vampire?
Not publicly. One day a woman was found dead. A sex worker. And they, for whatever reason, thought it was Jacques that did it. They went to his apartment to question him, and it had been completely cleaned out. Except for several bottles of red wine mixed with human blood. That's all he left behind. That's crazy.
Well, but he didn't want it. Isn't that a good sign? He didn't want it.
So
he left it as a sacrifice for the vampires.
Yeah. So they're like, that's weird. And then people were like,
they said this wine is rather thick.
So Jacques was 40 That's
Okay.
important. I should have mentioned that before. This is where I kind of get all over the place, so bear with me. Jacques, 40-year-old man, missing, leaves behind wine blood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. People started to say, Jacques had a relative back in France,
Mm-hmm.
an alchemist who
Mm.
experimented with blood, and his name was Count Saint Germain.
Mm.
And Count Saint Germain never looked older than 40.
Interesting.
Same age as Jacques.
Uh-huh. And then Jacques had to go missing because, God forbid, he
Right.
turned like 50.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to
And
move every once in a while.
yeah, and they described them as having like pretty identifying features. They had blue-gray eyes, pale skin, high cheekbones, thin lips, and a hooked nose.
Whoa.
So people thought, they said, if you look at the pictures of these two, they're the same. So many people thought they were the same person and also a vampire
Mm-hmm.
who would have been 170 years old
Wow.
at the time that Jacques disappeared and not 40. And in fact, people claim that they still see Jacques Saint Germain on Bourbon Street, and that the sightings of him kind of coincide with people going missing.
Oh.
Yes. One such example they gave was that on Halloween a few years ago on Bourbon Street, it's crowded, it's crazy. I've been on Bourbon Street for New Year's Eve. There's a lot of people, and they said that the crowd parted, but one man stood alone in the middle of the crowd. He was short. He was 5'6".
Mm.
He was wearing all black and sunglasses at night. And he was sniffing the air, they said. Could it have been Jacques Saint Germain?
Is Jacques Saint Germain tiny?
I guess so. He's 5'6", I guess. So this is the lore. And then also, this is where enters the chat a real life vampire who's not a murderer, who lives in New Orleans. So,
okay. How do you feel about this legend, this lore?
I feel like this man murdered a woman and fled.
Yeah, but here's my thing, okay? This Mary not believing in vampires. Vampires are not real. They're fictional characters, she said. This is the same Mary that I believe believes in cryptids.
I do. I don't believe that vampires are real because they're like
different
human.
than cryptids. Oh, okay.
And like a cryptid I can't deny because it looks like something I've never seen before. Human people saying I'm a vampire.
Don't believe.
No, you're not. Yeah.
What if they are?
No.
I mean, Rod isn't.
Yeah.
But what if Jacques is?
Here's my thought, actually, though. And I was like surprised they didn't say this. So when they start talking about his relation to this alchemist who experimented with blood, my first thought was that lady, that New Orleans woman who like took slaves and killed them, took enslaved people and killed them and used their blood to keep herself young. And like my thought was like that was, and she was also French, was like that was just kind of like a belief back then, was that blood keeps you young,
sure,
and like pristine. And so like I was like, this doesn't seem that far-fetched that he would be drinking blood with his wine.
Yeah, maybe the wine helps with the taste of blood.
Yeah, 2 doors down, Kathy Bates is rubbing blood all over her face while she's torturing people in her basement.
Vampire facials.
Because she thinks it's going to keep her young.
Yeah.
And
True.
that's not too far-fetched from this guy in France being an alchemist who experiments with blood.
Sure.
You know?
She's got a strong lineage. They all look the same.
So, this man enters the scene. I don't remember his name. I don't care what his name is. No, actually, that's not true. I do remember his name. It's Balthazar.
Beelzebub, is that you?
I know. I was like, okay. Balthazar is a sanguine vampire. I don't know what the fuck that means. He just said it and then they moved on. Like, okay. We all know. From New Orleans, who claims that he needs blood to stay healthy. He says that he learned this when he was 11. Tell us, what is a sanguine vampire?
A sanguine. Like a penguin.
Yeah.
Says
like a monkey.
As an adjective, it's optimistic or positive, especially in a bad or difficult situation.
Oh, so a nice vampire.
Or it can mean blood red. Or in an archaic definition, it can mean bloody or bloodthirsty. Heyo, so just a
like
vampire.
An oxymoron.
Just a vampire.
Or no, redundant.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, he says that he learned he was a vampire when he was 11 because he had been a very sickly child. And this incident occurred in which he bit his uncle and drank his blood and immediately felt not so sick anymore.
Awesome.
So he believes that he needs blood to stay healthy. He says that that you can see it on him when he hasn't had enough blood because he looks ill and old. So they also interviewed this guy in this documentary who is an occult expert and college professor at the time of this. I don't know if he will be anymore. Who volunteers as a blood donor for Balthazar.
Okay.
He says to learn more about the occult. So that's what we watch. We watch Balthazar drink this man's blood. And he's like just like shooting the shit with him. He explains that he can tell, he like asks him like if he's been eating certain things, and he's like, oh, I can tell like diet changes of my donors based on the taste of their blood. And then he says that he drinks typically 1 to 6 ounces of a donor's blood at a time. It only takes him about 20 minutes. He has this whole like sterilization process. He puts rubbing alcohol on them and then puts his mouth on that same spot. And like he's like, yeah, it makes it like taste not so good, but like I'll do what I need to do to keep everyone safe. And I'm like,
you're scared of like the dirt germs on their skin?
Right.
But like, have they gotten tested for like every bloodborne pathogen known to man? What?
This episode actually has to be retitled Bloodborne Pathogen.
Right. I'm so stressed about the bloodborne pathogens.
So then he explains that he doesn't need that
1
much
to
blood.
6
ounces.
Huh.
And the donor that they're taping said that like it can't be more than like 2 teaspoons. Like it's not a lot.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking like an average minstrel, you lose like 2 ounces.
Okay.
So I was just thinking 6 sounds like a lot.
So they explained that he doesn't need that much because it's just to keep him alive and healthy. Like this is like his insulin, if you will. And he's not immortal because when he drinks blood, there's no transference of life. He's just keeping himself alive and healthy. This is like kind
So
of
he would
the,
have
like,
to be like
general
sucking
belief.
blood to death, sucking people's blood till they die
Yes.
in order to be
In
like an
order to be
immortal vampire.
Yes.
Okay.
And so
Got
like
it. That's a lot of
scientists are like,
rules.
I know. Scientists are like weighing in this documentary, and they're like, this has kind of like been the general belief of like where vampires came from, is like that there were people who believed and maybe proven were more healthy when they drank blood.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, probably because they had iron deficiency anemia and we hadn't discovered it yet.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's fucking hilarious. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. This guy thinks he's a fucking he's named himself Belfazar. Thinks he's a fucking vampire and probably just has undiagnosed anemia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. So, that I'm trying to be Halloween, also. So, that's our lore. They're going to New Orleans. Yes. Okay. They get there, they get to Baton Rouge, they quickly run out of money. And they need to get some fast. Rod said that he felt like at this time that he had to be a strong leader. He needed to act like he knew what to do because no one else knew what to do, but that he could tell everyone was getting like antsy and like nervous. So he was like, well, let's like get a plan together. We need to get money. So they had Charity call her grandmother in South Dakota and ask if she could wire them some money.
They've killed the people closest to them.
Yeah. So she says, sure, I'll do that. She gets off the phone. She calls the police. And she said, my granddaughter and her little bum-ass friends just called me from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Go get them.
Damn, Granny.
Yeah.
She doesn't even know that they're vampiring and killing. She's just like, these are children. Can you get them off the street?
There's a warrant out for their arrest.
But she didn't. She knew that?
I feel like she probably knew there was a warrant out for her granddaughter's arrest, yeah.
I wouldn't think that she would know that in South Dakota in the 90s, that a Florida arrest
Maybe
warrant,
not. I don't know.
I feel like
also though, like, this girl's 16. I feel like they have to let her parents know that they're going to arrest her. If they see her. I don't know.
Did they know all of their names, or was there only an arrest warrant for Rod at this point?
I think they knew who. I don't know if there was a warrant for everyone. They knew who everyone was because they had all run away.
Sure, all of their parents. Right. That would be crazy, though, in the 90s, that in Florida, they would have already gotten information from Kentucky.
I know.
And, like, found,
But I think it's because, like, of how much Jennifer knew.
Sure.
About Heather's friends,
because that they were able
that they were able to get in touch and like learn about this like Vesago stuff and whatever. So they tell,
and I guess I forget it took them 4 fucking days.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not been like hours.
Right. So they tell Charity's grandmother that they're going to a Howard Johnson's hotel in Baton Rouge and that she can wire the money there.
Yeah, give her all the deets.
So
guys.
They get to the hotel. The girls go inside to look for the Western Union. I don't know what that means, but that's what they say.
It's a bank, or like
I know it's a bank, but like I don't know if they mean like that there's a bank in the hotel,
probably,
or if there's like they send something to wire the money, and they're looking for that, like a mail or something. I don't know. But they didn't come back, and so Rod looks at Scott and says, "They must have been arrested."
No.
He tells Scott and Heather, he says, "They must have been arrested. Let's get ready for that." And as soon as he says that, 17 cop cars pull up. He puts his hands behind him and said, "Let's go." So,
how dare he?
Yeah.
The audacity when these people did not agree to this.
I know.
Some of them. Scott, maybe.
Right. All 5 kids were arrested. Rod Rod immediately confessed.
He said, I got this wicked cool story to tell you.
They kind of like all immediately confessed. And this is when Scott
Well, the
tells
other
them
ones
that,
didn't really have anything
yeah,
to confess.
true.
The girls, I guess.
Yeah. Scott, like this is when he tells them like he was going to help with the killing, but then he saw what happened to Richard and he couldn't go through with it. So they were all held in Baton Rouge for a week in a jail there before they were extradited back to Florida. They were booked at the Lake County Jail, and then they were all moved to a juvenile facility in Ocala while awaiting trial. Michael Schaefer, the kid who had been in the Klan but got sent away. This is kind of sad. He's sad that he couldn't go on the trip because he said that he felt like he could have stopped it.
Buddy.
But his mom was like, these kids were so impulsive, like, and Rod took so many people down with him. Like, you could not have stopped him. Like, he would have done
killed
this.
you.
Yeah. Rod said true because he gets there and he starts fucking yapping. These are all of the things Rod has said. He called the electric chair an icon and an enchanted throne of death, and said that
Rod needed to live in 2025. He would have loved brain rot. He'd been
Rod is living in 2025.
Well, he should have been doing this.
Right.
Iconic electric chair. Iconic.
He called it the enchanted throne of death and said that he always wondered what it would be like to sit through it. So he wasn't worried about it. I said, you don't sit through it.
Yeah.
You don't get through to the other end.
No.
So he was like, not
if you've been alive for 500 years, you do.
Yeah. True. He also said that everyone at some point in their life will come to a point where they can either kill someone or show mercy. And it's more simple than in the movies. You either do it or you don't. You either want to or you don't. I, for one, have never been put in that position. I don't know many people who have, but okay.
And also, I think most of them would choose not what Rod chose.
Right. Then he also said that he felt a rush when he killed the Windorfs, and that he felt like a god. And
but
then
he didn't even drink their blood.
I know. But now he's in jail and he says, well, obviously, though, I'm not a god because I wouldn't have gone to prison if I was a god. That's how he found out. So they go through the trial. Rod had never met his dad, but somehow his dad came and testified against him at the trial.
He said,
that's crazy.
I'm back.
And the jury voted 12-0 that he was guilty. He pleaded, it didn't say that he pleaded guilty, so I don't know what they were deciding on. I guess maybe they were deciding on the
sentencing?
Yeah, the sentencing. So
why is he still alive in Florida?
I will tell you. Rod Ferrell pleaded. So, okay, back up. Delete. Dad testified against him. Moving forward. Rod Ferrell pleaded guilty to 2 counts of felony first-degree murder of Richard and Naomi Ruth Windorf. Naomi Ruth Queen Windorf. And claimed that his friends were innocent. He said that the girls were not involved at all, and Scott was only an accessory. He's innocent. An accessory to murder.
He's innocent of my charges.
Rod's attorneys, on the other hand, claimed that Rod should be declared legally insane. They told the judge,
as only a good attorney should.
Right. They told the judge that Rod had been diagnosed with Asperger's. And
see, you brought us back into current current events, and I want to leave.
They did also say that he had been diagnosed with schizotypal personality disorder.
Yeah.
That caused him to witness spiritual occurrences like angels and demons.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the mention of vampires, hello.
Demons.
Yeah. Judge Jerry T. Lockett sentenced Rod Ferrell to death, making him the youngest person on Florida's death row at 18 years old. Scott Anderson received the same charges as Rod and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Charity
of
Kesey,
a role in the world after.
Yeah. I mean, true. Charity Kesey was convicted on 2 counts of third-degree murder, robbery. I think because they decided that Charity and Dana had helped plan the murders, but then weren't physically there.
Okay.
Anyway, robbery with a deadly weapon and armed burglary, and she was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Dana Cooper was convicted of the same charges as Charity and was sentenced to 17 years in prison. And Heather Windorf was not indicted.
They said, she suffered enough.
Yeah. Her sister was like, are you sure?
Really?
No. I don't know. I would. No offense.
Do you think that the girls were, like, that it was everyone's plan?
I don't know. So, like, most people believe that, like, that Heather asked them to kill her parents.
Oh.
And that it was a plan, and that, like, it didn't have anything to do with needing a vehicle, didn't have anything to do with a flat tire, whatever, and that, like, the girls were maybe left behind as, like, plausible deniability kind of thing. But, so, people think that they knew.
Sure. I mean, all of what was happening between, like, Florida and Louisiana is all, like, word of mouth. So, like, I guess I wouldn't know. But, like, from the way, obviously, you told the story, like, I'm like, Rod is such a, like, just, like, a liability that, like, it doesn't seem that crazy that he would just do it.
Right.
He's been wanting to do this no matter what clan he's in.
I agree. Yeah, that's, like, where I kind of sit on it, is, like, he seemed to be the only one who wanted to take things to this level.
Mm-hmm. It really is giving Charles Manson,
like, they're all so, like, angsty and whatever, and, like, they think they're vampires, whatever, but, like, in every story about violence, it is only Rod.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what I think. They all, like, maintain that Heather found out in the car on the way out of Florida. So I understand if they did want to indict her. Sure. So 2 years after conviction, Rod's death penalty was reduced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Don't know why. The case judge told him, I think you are a very disturbed man, and I think your family failed you. Rod says that he doesn't really think about this too much. It's like any other thing he did in his life, and if it hadn't been the Windorfs, it would have been someone else. You know?
Do you think he has donors? Do you think he has donors in prison?
I don't think he's a vampire anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, he just doesn't even want it.
No, yeah. So, investigators think, like, that
vampires aren't real.
Yeah. Investigators think that this was, like, a team effort and that it was, like, a game to them, but that Rod did take it too far, like, farther than the kids expected. And then, coincidentally, all of the vampire clans in Murray, Kentucky disappeared after Rod Ferrell was arrested.
They said, that's not really what we were about.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Charity Kesey was released from prison in March of 2006 after serving 8 years, and Dana Cooper was released in October of 2011 after serving 13 years, I think, if I did the math correctly. In 2013, Rod and Scott both attempted to get new sentencing hearings, but were dismissed. In January of 2018, Scott was able to be resentenced by a circuit court judge, and his sentence was reduced to 40 years in prison, 22 of which he had already served. So he is now eligible for parole in 2031, but he is currently serving time at the Calhoun Correctional Institution. Relatives of the Windorfs attended the resentencing hearing for Scott and actually made no objections to him potentially being released. They said that they're more concerned about Rod Ferrell because at the same time he was scheduled to have a resentencing hearing in July of 2019. So they were more worried that he was going to be given an opportunity for parole. That hearing was rescheduled for November of 2019, and then that was rescheduled again for April of 2020. And in that hearing, the sentencing judge upheld Rod's life sentence without the possibility of parole and called him irreparably corrupt. So Rod Ferrell is currently incarcerated in the Northwest Florida Reception Center Annex. In 2023, Rod married Stephanie Ferrell, and now he says he has everything he needs. He's got a wife, he's got a close relationship with his mother, and, like, let's be real, he doesn't have a single thing pinging off in his conscience. But he does have a warning for the kids out there. He says, don't join vampire cults. It won't lead you anywhere except somewhere you can't return from. Like prison.
Right. That must suck.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think he's a vampire anymore. I don't know how long it took him to get to that conclusion, but now he's like, don't be a vampire. It's not worth it, I guess.
You know how I feel about the death penalty, but I'm, like, kind of sad he didn't get to try out the electric chair.
I know, like...
Take it for a little ride.
Like... I don't support what was going to happen to Rod Ferrell, but Rod Ferrell supports what was going to happen to Rod Ferrell.
Crazy. Just saying.
Yeah. I want to sit through it. Crazy.
I really want to watch one of those.
One of those.
For a minute.
Huh?
Like when you say sit through it, it feels like something you're watching.
Yeah.
Like I just want to watch one of those, but I want to be in it.
Right. Yeah, he's a nut job. Yeah, he's crazy. I don't. Yeah, and then you do your big one. And there's no vampiric activity in it.
Right, come on now.
This whole thing was like
that's
because
just
you're
murder.
Vampires. And so like the investigators like said like this murder has nothing to do with vampirism and the occult and whatever. Like it doesn't. And like that's true. And that's crazy. Like what are the odds that you're both a 500-year-old vampire and just a murderer? And the two are not linked. What are the odds?
Wild. All of that blood all in front of your face.
I know.
And nothing. From you or Scott.
That's crazy.
Nuts.
Edward Cullen would never be able to control himself.
No. Never.
You know why?
Because he has a real... Oh. Because he's a real vampire.
Right.
Well, happy Halloween.
Yeah.
We'll have another one next time.
Yeah. I want to try to sneak in a Halloween bonus episode, but at the rate I'm going for writing scripts, it seems unlikely. But we'll let you know.
We'll see.
Bye.
Bye.